story today about a young man whose life was completely destroyed by these instruments of fear.
My mom had to get a restraining order against my stepdad. He has emotional problems.
Oh, I have those too. What kind of emotional problems does your dad have?
I'm not going to be able to continue this conversation.
Well, if he won't, then I guess I will. Then allow me to introduce you to the Donnie Darko book. This book is based off the original film Donnie Darko. Hence the name, Donnie Darko book. Now, why a book was made was because the original movie was so hard to get, fans had trouble understanding what the story is about and how it all happened, so they decided to make a book to help clear up some questions.
The what?
So let's break it down by starting with the main character, Donnie Darko. Donnie is a schizophrenic kid.
Donnie is experiencing what is commonly called a daylight hallucination.
And boy, does he have it bad. Although, it's kind of an off and on thing. And when he's not talking to Frank, he's pretty much just a normal teenager. He has a girlfriend named Gretchen, goes to high school, and enjoys shooting things, and can't argue with that. He doesn't shoot anybody, but he just, shoots, like, bottles and stuff, right? Although his schizophrenia has a dark side, like his time-traveling imaginary friend Frank.
Has he ever told you about his friend Frank, the giant bunny rabbit?
The what?
Now, Frank is really the character that manipulates this story. Like I said, this story is extremely complicated, so it's kind of hard to tell you if he's imaginary or actually there.
Who are you talking to?
The premise of the story is about time travel, and Frank is a man in a costume who he hurts in the future.
It's gonna stop. You should already know that.
And actually, in a way, Frank kinda saves Donnie. He does this by pulling Donnie out of death's hands and showing him what his life would be like if he were to live, and then sending him back so he can make the final decision. Yeah, creepy. Well, that was an extremely small description of Frank, but he's pretty much what you make of him.
Did Frank tell you to do these
I
things?
have to obey him. He saved my life.
Now, there are a bunch of other smaller characters that the story could not be possible without, but we just don't have the time to go over them. Well, to give you an extremely quick description, again, Donnie is given 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds to figure out what his fate will be if he survives this certain incident. Oh, and did I mention that after that the world ends? The story is just so weird, it's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of what you make of the story. Donnie might not actually not be schizophrenic. This could be some type of divine interaction between some higher power in this world and it's trying to save something. Or Donnie just could be some unlucky kid who happens to die in this accident, and if he did not die in the accident, he could live perfectly fine. I know in a deleted scene with Frank meeting Donnie on the golf course, Frank was like, "God loves his children, and we're here to save you," or something rather. And that's how the not the author, but the director explained it. He's like, it kind of over-explained the story, and it's pretty much what you make of it.
So in order to travel back in time, you have to have a big spaceship or something that can travel faster than the speed of light.
Anyway, I could be here for a very long time trying to tell you what the story is about, but we just don't have that kind of time. So moving on. What is in the book besides the script? Well, in this book is another book called The Philosophy of Time Travel, which Donnie is given by a professor. What's interesting is this book was written by another character in the movie that Donnie knows very well. It basically states, if you are to time travel, you need these key elements. It kind of explains what Donnie is seeing, and if you get the chance to sit down and read it, it actually kind of explains the story a little bit. Like in Chapter 6, The Living Receiver, it states, the living receiver is often tormented by terrifying dreams, visions, and auditory hallucinations during his time with the Tangent Universe. It also states that the living receiver is often blessed with a fourth-dimensional powers. These include increased strength, which kind of describes how he was able to put an axe in a bronze head. Other things included in the book are the fan art, the director's notes, and how he made the movie. And there, in a nutshell, is your Donnie Darko and Donnie Darko book. Now, I can only tell you so much, so I encourage you to see the movie, but be warned, it is very R. So, get your parents' permission. Rawr. But it's a very good movie, alright? I really encourage you to watch it because it's pretty neat. And there it is, your mode is in. Good night.
Have you ever seen a portal? The sky were to suddenly open up. There would be no law. There would be no rule. There would only be you and your memories. The choices you've made and the people you've touched. If this world were to end, there would only be you and him.